Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time was a surely interesting run through Pokemon Heart Gold as I sought to see if I could beat it with just a team of headbutt Pokemon. Today though, we head back a generation to Gen 3 and see if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with a tag team of Ralts and Abra. Let's talk about Ralts first. We are pretty bad. We've got a base stat total of 198, the best stat of which is our special attack at 45. This is atrocious, but hey, it should make it fun. We are frail, so that's going to add an extra dimension of fun. We are mono psychic type, so we're weak to ghost, dark and bug. We have no immunities, we resist fighting and psychic. I know that's not what the type chart on the screen says though, blame the fairy type. We also don't begin with an attacking move, that might be a theme on this run, but believe it or not, this is the better option to begin the run with. Plus you can't get Ralts in Kanto naturally. Via level up we get Confusion and Psychic, we get Calm Mind, which is useful if we can survive long enough to reap the benefits, not a guarantee. Hypnosis is unreliable, so I'm not considering it as a useful option, but Double Team is also nice. Via TM we don't get much. Thunderbolt, Shockwave and Thief are about the best options, though it does depend on what hidden power type we get. However, I may not be using Shockwave or Thief for a reason I'll cover shortly. Shadow Ball is not even particularly useful since all damage from ghost type attacks was physical in this game. We can get Substitute out of the move tutor, so maybe that will be something. Abra, by contrast, is a lot better. We have a 310 base stat total, so a lot better. A huge chunk of that is our special attack and speed. Abra's special attack and speed combined nearly matches Ralts' entire base stat total. We are more physically frail though than Ralts and have slightly less HP. We have the same weaknesses and resistances. Abra's level up moveset is less than stellar, shall we say. So again, with TMs we get stuff like Psychic, Shockwave, Thief, Hidden Power, which might be the best moves. Now you see why I'm not going to use them on Ralts, because Ralts at least does get level up moves. Iron Tail and Focus Punch are there along with Shadow Ball and a slew of normal moves, but yes, they're there, that's about the best thing that can be said of them. We can get Seismic Toss by Tutor, which may not be a terrible idea. Fixed Damage could be handy somewhere. This challenge is one of my own. Thanks for watching folks, the rules are on the screen throughout, and as always, if you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. Let's go and get this on. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Charmander with Ralts, so that I can do the whole run with it. I chose to replace Charmander since I didn't know whether Charizard or Blastoise would be harder to fight, but I figure this way we've got to fight Executor, who resists us, and Arcanine, who can probably mess us up. Our Ralts, who I don't nickname, has the Jolly nature, so less special attack and more speed. That's maybe up there with one of the worst natures we could have gotten. Still, we don't reset, I don't do that. And at least we will have backup on this run in the form of Abra. Anyway, we have Trace as an ability, which lets us copy other abilities. The rival fight is an experience in pain, since we only start with Growl as a move and we can't fight back against this Squirtle. Of course, you know then what the issue becomes. The purpose of this fight is to lose as swiftly as possible, but with that Growl being our only move, it means that Squirtle does less damage each turn, which slowly becomes an exercise in frustration. But we are pretty weak, so it doesn't take long for the tiny turtle to kick the shell out of us, and we can bow out gracefully in defeat and head off. Kickstarting the run then, I have to head into the Viridian Forest. I have to find a Metapod or a Kakuna and burn all my Growl PP. Of course, we are slow, so we can't run first turn from every fight that isn't a Metapod or a Kakuna. I can't burn all my PP on one Metapod since they have 30 Hardens and we have 40 Growls to waste. The math ain't mathing with that, so I have to go through the process of finding a second one. Even then, I have to use Struggle, which given our relative fragility is a risk because a crit might just mess us up badly. The good news is I've only got to go to level 6, and considering what I've had to do at times to reach higher levels in other games with other Pokemon to get an attacking move, I'm looking at you, Igglybuff. When we do get that level up, we learn Confusion, we're up and running. It's time to start EV training then, and given we've got that speed boosting nature, I might as well try to make the best of it. So, I go and set about my genocide on the local Rattata and Pidgey population. So much for keeping this family friendly. We've got a rock gym upcoming, and though they won't have a good special defence, the rock gym in Emerald would be way harder. I'm worried about what might come back our way in retaliation. Onyx can be tricky in this game, especially with Rock Tomb and Bind. They're a lot tougher to deal with than Bide was in Gen 1. I go and get some revenge on our rival not long after, and the beautiful thing here is that since we can copy abilities with Trace, it means that if we copy his Pidgey's ability, Keen Eye, it means we're immune to Sand Attack. Really nice. This is good because I will have to be able to solo him on Mah-Dry-Bread later on, before we can get Abra. We attack Pidgey with Confusion. We confuse it and manage to two-shot with a little help from it hitting itself. There is a tackle that hurts us though. Squirtle also manages to hurt us with a bunch of tackle attacks, as Confusion does about a quarter of its health in damage each turn, but we can soon wear it down. We crit our last Confusion to take it out of the fight, and that's a pretty big relief. I am travelling through the Viridian Forest to do my last bits of prep before Brock, and I think I will need some levels. We're potentially going to get hurt quite badly. Learning Double Team as we traverse the forest is definitely a nice boost. I'm sure I can get some use out of that. A few double teams should make Rock Tomb less likely to hit us and slow us down. I say less likely, not a guarantee. It'll probably land it 3 times in a row through 6 double teams. Nah, I don't think I'll need 6 double teams. And on the subject of that fight, let's get on with it. We march in to face Brock. He, of course, begins with his Geodude and the battle begins as we go for a few double teams to start the battle. Geodude only goes for Defense Curl and 1 tackle. It can Defense Curl all day for me. We're not using our physical attack stat and we bring it down with 2 Confusions. Onyx is next. It does miss 2 out of 3 tackles, which is a great result since we're not blessed with stellar physical stats. But then again, neither is Onyx blessed with great attack. We free shot with Confusion to take it out for the count and get badge number 1. I'm going through Mount Moon and trying to get some levels since we will have 2 tough fights ahead. The rival fight on Nugget Bridge and the Water Gym battle versus Misty. Neither will be easy. I mean, we could head north and try to get an Abra first, but that's not going to be a pleasant experience since it will probably teleport away the first turn. How long is it going to take to catch an Abra? That's debatable. I mean, you can get one out of the game corner, but getting one before the second gym versus one halfway through the game it's a bit of a difference, so yeah. Anyway, on the way there, I took the Helix fossil. Any further questions? No? Fantastic, let's move on. I'm going to try and beat the rival first so that I can get myself an Abra. This is probably going to be a brutal 10 to 15 minutes until I watch that Pokeball click shut. Hopefully anyway. It takes a few tries versus the rival, but eventually we get a run which goes well. He begins with Pidgeotto. We start with Calm-Mind, going for one of them, but getting battered about by Quick Attack and Gust. Thankfully, we can two-shot with Confusion, and we even somehow outspeed on the turn we knock it out. We have lost over half our health though. Rattata is a one-shot with Confusion, but we also get hit with Quick Attack, and it knocks another chunk of our health out. One more solid hit could take us down. Squirtle does hit us with Water Gun to leave us on 6 HP, but we can two-shot with Confusion, the second being an important crit. I don't think we finished it off in one hit there without the crit, so we might just have won the battle, especially since Abra is last. It can't hurt us, so I use a bunch of Calm Minds to waste some time, and after a lot of time passes where it tries and fails to use teleports, we do eventually bring it down with a Confusion when I get bored of raising our stats. Abra is not going to be the issue, but speaking of Abra, I need to go and catch one. This takes a long time, I know that. We have one shot, we can't attack it because it will use teleport to flee, so I've got the option of hooking Pokeballs at it first turn and hoping we get the capture. The Abra I eventually do capture has the careful nature, so increased special defense and lowered special attack. Not great, but I don't really want to go through all that again of having to catch another Abra, and so I'll take it. It's not the worst nature we could have gotten. We also have the ability Synchronise, so if anything status afflicts us, we give it back to them in retaliation. I also teach Abra Thief and set about training him for a bit before we face Misty. We do lose our first attempt on Misty. Not surprising, since Starmie's base stat total is only slightly less than Abra and Ralts' put together, if I've done my math right. I probably haven't. Anyway, I train some more and then come back. Staryu is a bit of a pain for Abra to deal with. We can drop it onto red health with 2 thief attacks, but get confused by water pulse. The confusion isn't an issue. Synchronise doesn't work on confusion, it appears, but the fact Staryu begins to spam recover is quite annoying. A pattern begins to develop where we hit Thief to put it on red health and then it heals back up, slowly gaining more health each time. I get annoyed eventually and switch into Ralts, going for Calm Mind. Staryu only begins to spam Harden, which is an interesting choice of move. I figure as soon as it begins to attack, I will counter attack, but it only just keeps on going for Harden. I mean it goes for Harden 6 turns in a row, and we've put like 4 Calm Minds and 2 double teams up. We do get hit with a crit tackle, but it also misses 2 tackles in a row while we do our last 2 Calm Minds, and then we smash Staryu into the wall with a +6 confusion. Starmie comes out, hits Swift. We're not avoiding that with double team, alas, and then we smash it with a crit confusion that puts it on red health and confuses it. Misty drops a super potion, we use another confusion, it hits itself in said confusion, and another confusion takes it out. I said confusion way too many times in that sentence. On with travelling then. I need to head towards Vermilion City now for the SS and rival fight and the electric gym. I'm not expecting either of them to cause me an undue amount of trouble, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong. I think Surge will likely be the harder of the two. I will also catch the traditional Meowth pickup brigade on the way down and see what I can do with that. I'll need more PP ups than ever in this run because twice the amount of Pokemon, twice the amount of moves that need their power points maxed out. Anyway, rival fight, and we can get this on now. I am reasonably confident. Calm Mind a few times and then we'll sweep his team. That's my strategy. I put a lot of thought into it, as can be seen. He begins with Pidgeotto and I send out Ralts, immediately prepping my strategy to be implemented. We get hit with a few quick attacks, 3 of them to be precise, as we go for 2 Calm Minds. The last quick attack crits to leave us on a quarter of our health, but we wreck Pidgeotto with Psychic. Wartortle is second, it survives Psychic on a sliver and hits a bite that leaves us on 1 HP. I think those Calm Minds saved us right there. We finish Wartortle off with Confusion, but then Raticate comes in and I know exactly what's going to happen. We get down with Quick Attack. I send Abra in. Raticate only uses Tail Whip, making us more fragile, but we down it with 2 Thieves, and at least we know Kadabra isn't going to be using physical attacks on us. Kadabra happens to be a one-shot with Thief, and that's all that happened. I go into the electric gym and face Surge, and although we lose the first attempt, the second one plays out like this. He begins with Voltorb and we send out Abra. Thief does either less or more than half, depending on the damage roll. We do get hurt with Shockwave and Sonic Boom to lose half our health. Surge does heal, and eventually we manage to take Voltorb out with Thief attacks. Pikachu is second. We strike Thief and one-shot. That was pretty straightforward. We hit Raichu with Thief and get paralysed by Static. 2 things. 1, Synchronise kicks in, and 2, it nullifies the Thunder Wave Raichu tries to jolt us with, so we were getting paralysed either way there. We hit another Thief, Surge uses a full heal before Raichu starts to go for double T. We land a Thief to put it on red health, but are fully paralysed the next turn and have to tank a Shockwave. Raichu takes Abra out with Quick Attack. Ralts comes in and gets hit with Shockwave, which does a worrying amount of damage, but we take Raichu out very quickly. 3 badges down. Let us do some good old-fashioned trivia then as we're going through Rock Tunnel. Ralts' number in the Platinum Pokédex and the Almia browser are the same. It is the only Pokemon with a base stat total of 198. Pokemon Troise is the only game where it has a sprite where its eyes are visible. Its eyes can be seen in the Carlos games and the Ore games, but neither of those games use sprites, rather 3D models. Despite what Wally does on Route 102 in the Hoenn games, it is impossible for the player to catch level 5 Ralts in those games without using the Dex Nav. As of Gen 8, Ralts and its evolutions are the only Pokemon in the amorphous and human-like egg groups. It seems to be based on a young child and the concept of empathy. It is common in various forms of media for shy, sensitive characters to be depicted with hair obscuring their eyes, which may explain the hairstyle. Its name may be a partial anagram of astral. Pokédex entries state about how they sense emotions using their horns and how they hide if they sense hostility. Abra, on the other hand, the Pokédex entries tell us how it sleeps 18 hours a day. Why does this thing not have comatose as an ability? It teleports away as a means of escape. The Moon Pokédex entries state that it wakes up and panics when it realises when it doesn't know where it is. It needs that sleep to be able to be using its psychic powers. I phrased that horribly. It can eat berries even while asleep. In the Red and Blue beta, it was originally known as Hocus. In Conquest, despite seen as floating, it is still considered a grounded Pokemon. Of all Psychic-type Pokemon, it has the lowest base attack and is tied with Smoochum for the lowest base defense. In Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, a wild Abra will teleport away if the player tries to approach from the front. It has the highest flee rate in Pokemon Go. In Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, Wild Abra will always drop a Max Ether when defeated. Its name may be derived from Abracadabra, which is potentially also hinted at in the names of its evolutions. Its Japanese name is Casey, believe it or not, named after Edgar Cayce, a purported psychic famous for going into trances. It appears to be based on various possums. In Lavender Town, I go into Pokemon Tower to fight the rival. It occurred to me I could teach Abra Shockwave as I intended to do. I don't know why it took me a day and a half of real time to realise this. The rival fight isn't bad. I begin with Abra to face Pidgeotto. We do get slammed with Quick Attack for a third of our health, but take it out with Shockwave. Wartortle survives Shockwave, but only goes to withdraw. Brave decision since we have no physical attacks, and we take it out with another Shockwave. Growlithe is third, it intimidates us, which isn't going to affect the fight. It does connect with an Ember, but Shockwave and Thief take it out. Execute is a one-shot with Thief. Kadabra does survive Thief, but only goes for Disable, and so we then have to take it out with Shockwave. Not an issue at all this. But the next one is a huge issue though. I also use the I know it's programming, but I also love the logic that, aha, that's an Abra, I best buff my physical defence. I do test out our hidden power types. I figure out, after much testing, that Abra possibly has the Psychic type hidden power. Not useful really in terms of move coverage. I do figure out Ralts has either normal or flying type hidden power, which, since both of those are physical damage types in this game, that's even less useful. Oh well. I'm travelling now because I've got 2 major fights upcoming. There's the Celadon City Gym fight with Erica, which I don't anticipate being a huge amount of trouble. I mean, I've got berries thanks to the Meowth Pickup Brigade, so we can probably bounce off one status affliction. And then there's Giovanni. Now I am worried a bit about Kangaskhan, but it shouldn't be too bad. Maybe we can brute force it. Yeah, we can probably brute force it. A couple of good hits from her though might cause some issues. We are pretty fragile, both my team members. On a separate note, I first had this idea some time ago, back when I did the Machop and Makahita challenge. I've done a few team runs since then. Bellsprout and Oddish, Onix and Geodude, Spearow and Swablu, Teddiursa and Spinder, and there are another few panned out, so let's have a look how those go in the future. Anyway, I go after Erica first. I have got cherry berries on both my Pokemon. I'm not sure we will one-shot with Psychic, and so I have a plan. I begin with Ralts to face Victory Bell, and we go for a Calm Mind straight off the bat. Victory Bell, as predicted, goes for a stun sport, and I watch my Ralts get paralysed. We eat the cherry berry, get rid of the condition, and then blast Victory Bell with Psychic for a one-shot. Tangela is second, and I'm really not surprised when it doesn't survive Psychic and we watch it go crashing down. Last is Vileplume. It doesn't do any sort of better and we one-shot with Psychic. This is what Ralts has going for him at the moment, the fact that we can buff our special stats. I will need a TM for Abra to be able to do that. And while I am in town, I go and pile onto Giovanni in the game corner. Again, I have a plan. It's not a complex plan, but if it works, it'll work. I begin with Ralts to face off with Onix, and I start to use Calm Minds. Onix does hit Rage for meagre damage. I decide to use a few double teams to avoid tackle attacks, but I do get hit with Bind for chip damage, so I go back to using Calm Minds. I'm not worried about Onix, all this is for Kangaskhan's benefit. I go for 3 Calm Minds all told, and then we one-shot Onix with Confusion. Kangaskhan is second, she survives Psychic on a Sliver and then uses Tail Whip. We take her down with Confusion. Last is Rhyhorn, that shouldn't be an issue, and we one-shot with Confusion. I have got that choice between Koga or Sylph now, and I don't think Koga will be an issue, but I am worried about that Sylph rival fight. So, I decide to head south instead of west to Saffron from the Pokemon Tower. There are a lot of trainers down here, so it gives us a chance to power up. I don't think we'll necessarily need it for the Poison Gym, but I can see the Sylph rival fight being unsettling. I mean, Ralts is pretty weak, he doesn't have great stats, and while Abra can hit hard, it's getting to hit twice that I'm worried about potentially, given that we are even more fragile. So yeah, just because we have some stuff going for us, we've got to remember we're not invincible. Poison Gym then, and the battle with Koga. I have a winning strategy in mind. Well, I hope it's a winning strategy anyway. He begins with Coughing, I go for Ralts and Calm Mind. Of course, he then goes for Smokescreen. That's kicked my winning strategy into touch. We miss Psychic twice, getting hit with Sludge and with Toxic. This is going really well then. We do connect with Psychic on Coughing, but I think it's fair to say the damage has been done. We miss Psychic on Muck and it goes for Minimise before we do hit Psychic at the second attempt to take it out. Psychic connects with Coughing number 2 and one-shots it, putting us into battle with Wheezy. We then miss Psychic and get taken out with Sludge. Well, this could have gone better, but it also could have gone worse as well. Abra comes in, one-shots Wheezing with Psychic, that gives us the win. I am going through Sylph now, and since I'm nothing if not a creature of habit, let's talk about what's ongoing with the channel. Not been uploading much other than the occasional TCG video a week and these. I've not really been going much outside of these challenges, but I do feel a lot better since I altered my life around. Next challenge. Oh, I like this one. I've not done a challenge in this game this year, but it's going to be an Alpha Sapphire challenge. I'm going to see if I can beat that game with just a single Sandile. One of my favourite Pokemon evolutionary lines, and so I get to use it again. It's been a very long time since I did that Sandile challenge in White 2. It was a long time ago, it was in January 2022. Any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Some other challenges I did about the time of that Sandile one. Emerald with Slaking, Yellow with Cubone, Pearl with Shinx back when I did my Sinnoh challenges in Pokemon Pearl. I did Fire Red with Love Disc about that time. Anyway, rival fight time, and we shall see. He begins with Pidgeot, and I send in Ralts. We go for Calm Mind, but we take a lot of damage from Pidgeot's wing attack though. But one shot with our +1 Thunderbolt, so that's handy. Blastoise is second. We do a massive amount of damage with Thunderbolt before getting struck with Bite, and we can quickly strike another Thunderbolt to bring Blastoise down. Growlithe is third, we one-shot with Psychic, it's going well so far. Execute misses Stun Spore on us, which could have potentially caused issues, but we two-shot with Psychic despite the move being resisted. Alakazam is last and it nearly goes badly. It outspeeds and goes for Future Sight. We strike Thunderbolt and paralyse it, which makes its Synchronise ability kick in. It might have caused us problems, but it only went for Future Sight twice, failing both times, all while we eventually take it down with a Thunderbolt. Does Alakazam genuinely not have another attacking move in this game beyond Future Sight? Curious. Giovanni is next as we go on a bit of a boss rush. We make our way in to face off with him and he begins with Nidorino. Ralts goes for Calm Mind twice while Nidorino connects with 2 Horn attacks, doing some moderate damage, but we one-shot with Psychic. Nidoqueen is also a one-shot with Psychic, so that's something. Kangaskhan is third. We do huge damage with Psychic before she clocks us with Mega Punch to leave us on 3 HP. We take her out with Thunderbolt though. Last is Rhyhorn. We one-shot with Psychic for a win. Okay then, it's time to take on Sabrina and her team of Psychic types, with my team of Psychic types. She begins with Kadabra, we go for Ralts. Now, if Kadabra actually attacked us, this might have gone a lot differently. I genuinely think it doesn't have a damaging move though, as Future Sight is the only thing it goes for, while we manage to go for 4 Calm Minds in quick succession, just to be really sure that this isn't a contest, and we one-shot Kadabra with Thunderbolt. I want the 4 Calm Minds because I remember what happened with Alakazam in the previous battle. Venomoth is second, we one-shot with Psychic. Mr. Mime is third, we managed to one-shot with Thunderbolt, and last is Alakazam, who hits Psychic, but it barely does any damage. It does lower our special defence, but not a problem as we take it out with Thunderbolt. Ralts may be weak, but he's done good these last 3 fights. Travelling to Cinnabar Island now, I'm going to make a prediction that Blaine turns out to be harder than Giovanni. Those are potentially 3 rough upcoming fights. Blaine, Giovanni, and then the Route 22 rival fight. I don't know if I've said it before, but I think the penultimate rival fight has potential to be harder than the Sylph rival fight. It's a huge difficulty spike for sure. Blaine's Pokemon are going to be rougher to deal with than Giovanni's. They'll be faster than the ground gym Pokemon, and I think they will survive our hits a lot better than Giovanni's will as well. Let us put that theory to the test, shall we, as it's time to fight for badge number 7. He begins with Growlithe, I send in Ralts to go for Calm Mind. Unfortunately, we get hit with Fire Blast and get burned despite it not doing too much damage. I do need to salvage the situation and we one-shot Growlithe with Psychic. Arcanine is out second and takes Ralts out with Takedown. Okay, that's not good. I send in Abra and use Calm Mind before Arcanine wipes out 4/5 of our health with Takedown, but we take it out with Psychic. Ponyta is a one-shot with Psychic, and so in the next round is Rapidash. I was a little worried there, but we made it through. I think if we'd not one-shot Rapidash there, we would have lost. As I'm travelling the Sevi Islands to get some levels ahead of the final rival fight, I did a search on YouTube to see if this challenge has been done before. Now I did find out very quickly that this specific challenge has not been done. However, I did find several instances of both Ralts and Abra being used in solo Fire Red runs, so it's not entirely unique in that sense. Oh well, I tried. Like I said, I wanted to do this challenge for a while. I also bet an Abra solo run in Fire Red or Leaf Green is atrocious, given I don't think you can get a TM until way after Brock. I need to see one of these runs actually to prove my theory. I mean, it's probably horrific until Mount Moon, but I might be wrong. I mean, would you have to beat Brock with struggle in that game, in that run, that challenge? I need to look into this. Let's do Giovanni then for the final badge. I'm somewhat not concerned about him, I will say that, but I could be surprised. He begins with Rhyhorn, I go for Ralts. We go for a Calm Mind, since that strategy has served me so well so far, and then we get hit with Scary Face. We lose speed, but can still outspeed Rhyhorn and take it out with Psychic. He then goes for Doug Trio. We lose just over half our health to Earthquake, but we one-shot with Psychic. Nidoqueen is third. We get hit with Earthquake and nearly taken out, but we one-shot with Psychic. Nidoking is 4th, we are slower, and although we probably would one-hit it, we get taken out with Thrash. Abra is absolutely not slower than Nidoking though, and we one-shot with Psychic before we do the same thing to Rhyhorn on the next turn for a win and the last badge. We are back on Route 22 as we head towards the Pokemon League, and we've got another rival fight to get past. He begins with Pidgeot and I send in Ralts. I go for a Calm Mind, we get hit with Wing Attack. We survive another Wing Attack and launch Thunderbolt, but it survives on a Sliver. I figure he's going to heal, I go for another Calm Mind, but we get nailed with Quick Attack and taken out. Abra goes for Calm Mind, but Pidgeot does us an absolute solid and goes for Feather Dance. We take it out with Shockwave. Blastoise is 2nd, we strike a Shockwave for about 3/4 of its health and it only goes to Rain Dance before another Shockwave takes it out. Rhyhorn is 3rd, we one-shot with Psychic. Growlithe is 4th, and that is also a one-shot with Psychic. Execute is a one-shot with Thief, and Alakazam is last. We managed to crit a Thief to take it down in a single hit. Nice. I'm not sure that last battle versus Alakazam would have been a one-shot without a crit, but I'll take it. Hope the last fight goes that smoothly. As I stride through Victory Road, I have to think about what lies ahead. I don't know how the Elite Four are going to play out, but I actually think we'll have an easy time if I'm honest. Lorelei can be bulky, but we have super effective and powerful moves and the ability to power up. Plus, our special defence isn't terrible, and bar 1 or 2 physical moves, mainly Body Slam on Lapras, her team is mainly special attackers. Bruno is Bruno, we have 2 psychic types, I don't think he'll be an issue. Agatha is a weird situation. We are super effective against her entire team, but she also has moves that will mess us up in exchange. I think we'll be fine versus Lance, marching, sweeping all over the shop. How will the rival fight go? Well, we've done well so far, these might be the famous last words, won't they? Anyway, it's not long before we are at the Indigo Plateau, and here are our stats. Ralts is level 61, we have decent special attack and speed, but nothing fantastic. In fact, it's almost moderately worrying just how underwhelming our stats are here. Abra, by contrast, at level 62, has pretty amazing special attack and speed, and even some okay special defence, relatively speaking. So, I figure we're probably okay for a bit, but we shall have to see. Take your guesses on if we can win the run at this level or not. Right now, folks, let's get this on. Cue that Gen 5 gym music. Ice Trainer Lorelei is 1st and I have a strategy. I stride into her chamber and I'm ready to roll. I begin with Abra, she starts with Dewgong, and if I am lucky, she'll begin her first 2 turns with Hail and Safeguard in either order. I go for a Calm Mind right at the start, Dewgong goes to Safeguard. We Calm Mind again and have to tank an Ice Beam before Calm Minding the 3rd time, and Dewgong goes to Hail. We strike a Shockwave and one-shot Dewgong. Lapras is 2nd, we hit Psychic and one-shot. Cloyster is 3rd and we one-shot with Shockwave. Slowbro is 4th, Shockwave takes it down in one hit. Jinx is last, we hit Thief, she falls in defeat. Easy. Fighting Trainer Bruno is next, and I change up for this one, starting with Ralts. We go for a Calm Mind versus Onix, but we get hit with Rock Tomb and Earthquake for decent damage before we can take it out with Psychic. Hitmonchan is 2nd. We try to land Psychic, but get outsped and knocked out with Sky Uppercut. Abra comes in, we one-shot Hitmonchan with Psychic. We outspeed Hitmonlee 2 and take that out with Psychic. The 2nd Onix, when that comes out, is taken out with Psychic, and last is Machamp. Psychic one-shots though, and well, that was easy. Ralts getting knocked out aside. Poison Trainer Agatha is 3rd. See what I did there? And I decide to start with the revived Ralts once again. I think this should be just as easy as Bruno. I want to go for a Calm Mind versus Gengar number 1, but it goes for double team and we land Psychic instead, as I know how dangerous this can be very quickly. Gengar survives, Agatha heals, and we take the chance to go for Calm Mind, but we get one shot from full health with Shadow Punch. Abra comes in and one-shots Gengar with Psychic. Golbat is a one-shot with Psychic, and so on the next turn it's Arbok. Gengar number 2 goes down to Psychic, and I hit Haunter with Thief to save on Psychic PP. It survives and misses Hypnosis before Agatha heals, and we have to take it out with 2 more Thieves. Dragon Trainer Lance is next, and this is where we crash into a brick wall. As it turns out, we can't win this fight very quickly. Gyarados often one-shots Ralts with Hyper Beam without us getting a chance to attack, and although Abra can take Gyarados out with a Calm Mind boosted Shockwave, neither Aerodactyl or Dragonite are one-shots, even with the boost, and they can one-shot us in retaliation. If Aerodactyl goes for Hyper Beam, we might make it to Dragonite. Aerodactyl goes for anything else. If it connects with Hyper Beam or Wing Attack, it's a problem. We get one shot, so I head off to train. This is something where I think we just need levels. I thought this was going far too well. I mean, this turns out to be pretty brutal, levelling up pretty quickly, and I figure I might just go for the rare candy cheat. I mean, it's weird. I was opposed to it for a long time, but especially of late, my time has turned out to be pretty precious, and I'm pretty sure that grinding is not an indication of skill of anything other than being able to get past the high boredom threshold. I'll grind up a bit more, I'll see how it goes. Even if we get past Lance, it's not necessarily guaranteed that we're going to be able to get past the rival, so there is that to keep in mind. I was quite confident about the rival until I took this shoeing from Lance, so we'll have to see. I get back to Lance with Ralts at level 66 and Abra at level 68, so a bit higher than they were before. Unfortunately, at the start it plays out exactly the same, as Gyarados fires a Hyper Beam at Ralts and one-shots him, which, not entirely great. Abra comes in, we go for a Calm Mind and a Shockwave to take Gyarados out while he's recharging. We hit Aerodactyl with Psychic, it survives on a Slither and misses Hyper Beam, which, absolutely massive. We take the chance to go for another Calm Mind while he's healing, but we do take it out with Psychic. This time, Dragonite is a one-shot with Psychic. Dragonair number 1 doesn't survive Psychic, and neither does Dragonair number 2. Okay, that went really well. All it took was a lucky miss and the ability to capitalise. Now, how will the final rival fight go? The answer is extremely badly, as we face off with his Pidgeot. Ralts finally comes a cropper as we get mutilated with Aerial Ace. We get outsped and it hits us for over half our health each time, and we go down quickly. Abra doesn't fare much better and is taken out in short order. Okay, this isn't being done at this level. It's rare candy time! I make a try with both Pokemon at level 75, and we make it to his second Pokemon this time, so we can take Pidgeot out. But it doesn't go particularly better, as that second Pokemon is Arcanine with extreme speed. Abra is fast, but not surviving extreme speed at under half health fast. I make tries at level 80 and level 85, and while the level 85 efforts yield some close results, the best effort doesn't come until both Pokemon are level 90. And on this run, it goes like this. Ralts is finally faster than Pidgeot, and we go for a pair of Calm Minds while we do get doffed about by a few Aerial Aces. But they're doing maybe a quarter of our health now rather than half. We soon strike a Thunderbolt to one-shot and take it out. Arcanine is second, we are intimidated, but unfortunately we get crit by extreme speed for a one-shot. Not good at all. Abra comes in, extreme speed does less than half, so I go for a Calm Mind. We get put on red health by another extreme speed, but we can take it out with Psychic. We've got 10 HP left and 4 Pokemon to beat. Let's see how this goes out. Blastoise is a one-shot with Shockwave. Okay, that's good. Alakazam is a one-shot with Thief. That's even better. We take Rhydon out with a single Psychic, and at the last, when we face Executor, we take it out with Thief. And just like that, we've won the run, and I can take my team into the Hall of Fame, where we will be immortalised for all time. Well, that was fun. Easy for the big bulk of it, but these tag team runs offer a different dimension to the challenge, I think. A few difficulty spikes at the start and at the end, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me again next time for another Pokemon challenge as I set out to see if I can beat Pokemon Alpha Sapphire with just a single Sandile. I know I'm looking forward to that. See if I am come the point of actually doing it. As always, any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. If you did enjoy this, folks, please don't forget to leave a like, click on the comment section or smash that subscribe button. It is almost time for me to jump off, but I will see you next time on the next round. Have a great day, thanks for watching, see ya, take care, bye bye, so long.